Hey you guys, Dann here from Sweetheart, Alabama, the little herb shop located in downtown Greenville, right across from the post office, where we help people get healthy the natural way. I want to do something a little different than we usually do, and I want to talk about a podcast that I just finished, both seasons. It's called The Dream. Okay, so The Dream is hosted by Jane Marie and Dan Gallucci, and I think they did an excellent job. There's 2 different seasons. The first season is really a lot about multi-level marketing companies, and some of it, y'all, was shocking. The second season is more about natural health care companies, and also some of that was shocking too. And here I am, an herbalist, and I want to comment on this podcast. I want you to know that I'm not going to agree with everything that they say. We have different lives. I'm not going to agree with their take on some of the products, some of the things, but some of it was spot on. And so I want to tell you how I agree and disagree with it. I really respect these 2. I think they did good work with this podcast, and I really want to bring some of these problems that they shine a light on. I want people to know about this, because when these kind of charlatans, and I'll say it, people who don't have the best intentions, are trying to make money off of natural health care and multi-level marketing, they give us a bad name, y'all. And this fly-by-night stuff, and people who aren't trained, and people who are making outrageous health claims, it just hurts the people who are actually, like me, who are trying to bring natural health care more into the world and help people learn how to use natural products responsibly. So I want to talk about it, and I'm going to put a link below on where you can listen to the Dream podcast. Hey, I'm going to put a disclaimer down below, but also I just want to say I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. I want you to always, please talk to your healthcare provider about any kind of natural supplements you might want to add in, especially if you're taking prescription medication. It's so important, please. There are all kinds of things that can happen if you're taking certain medications with supplements, and it's really important to know the companies that you're dealing with, to know the milligrams of these things that you're using, whether or not they're going to interact with your medication, if they're safe, where they're sourced, all kinds of things. So please do your own research and talk to somebody who knows about this stuff before you just jump into this world. Okay, so here's where I'm going to disagree with the hosts of The Dream a little bit, and that's with season 1, talking specifically about multi-level marketing companies, in that, well, people don't get rich like they claim. Well, yeah, right? But there are some other advantages I think maybe they could have discussed if they had time. I know they were doing a lot of work. They did a lot of work on this podcast. But one thing to consider about multi-level marketing companies, even though a lot of people don't get rich, a lot of people lose money on them, there is an element of that, especially when they first started, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, where these activities for women helped women in different ways, networking with different women, getting out of the house. The world was different in the 60s and the 70s, and women didn't have a lot of freedom to do things. A lot of time, these multi-level marketing companies gave women the ability to get out of abusive relationships, to just make some sort of a living for their family until they could get back on their feet again. It helped single women a lot, divorced women who did not have an education for business, because the world was different, like I said, and women were getting married and having kids, and then, for whatever reason, they didn't have their husband ran off, and they had no marketable skills. And so some of these early multi-level marketing companies really helped women learn how to do that, how to dress for business. You can't just assume that a bunch of women in the 60s and 70s and 80s knew how to dress for business, how to conduct themselves in a business-like manner. That, you know, there's all kinds of other advantages that multi-level marketing companies taught women besides just getting rich quick. And I feel like we need to acknowledge that, because how far, and I know this sounds corny, but how far women have come since then. And these were avenues that women could do that safely. To their husbands, if they were in an abusive relationship, they were just going to hang out with some girls, you know. I don't think some men really realized that women were going one day a week, you know, to learn some business skills, so that if they ever had to get up on their feet and take care of themselves, they would have some of those skills that they never learned in school to do. So, and look, I'm just scratching the surface too, but there are some advantages for women with multi-level marketing companies that go above and beyond just getting rich. Okay, so here's my own personal story with Mary Kay. I'm a fan of Mary Kay, and the reason why I am is because of the women who are in Mary Kay. And I know it's old school and whatever, but when in the 90s, way back in the 90s, I was a Mary Kay consultant, and I absolutely loved it. Did I think I was going to get rich? No. Did I even try to like go up the ladder or whatever you call it? Not really. I was just having so much fun, and I sold a lot of makeup in the 90s to dancers, so I was just having a blast. And here, another advantage of that was that I saw women taking care of themselves in business that in a way that I hadn't seen before. I had some female mentors who were just amazing to me, and you know, I just saw a different side of the world or of life, and I still use some of those skills that I learned just as a young girl, just being kooky and having fun and selling makeup to my friends. I still use some of those skills today here owning my own business, and I wouldn't give that up for the world. I think I learned to be a little more professional, and I learned that from women, and I just, you know, I had a good time with it. I never thought I was going to get rich with it. It was just like a side gig for fun for me. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. So, you know, I have had some experience with multi-level marketing companies in the past, and, you know, pretty neutral. Here's where I agree with the hosts of the Dream podcast. First of all, multi-level marketing healthcare companies really do give all of us a bad name, usually with overexcited consultants who only have been told marketing materials. They don't know what they're talking about. They claim that things cure diseases, which that's a red flag right there. If they're using that word cure, that's a big red flag. The products are usually overpriced because of how the business is set up, the business model is set up. And I really agree with how the guys in the Dream were really explaining that. You really do need to know where your supplement comes from. Who owns the company? Have they ever been in trouble with the law before? Do they have a physical address? How are they charging customers? This is a big deal. And you know, how are they, if they do have consultants, are they even training them? My guess is no. Please remember that just because a doctor is involved with this company you're talking about or you're interested in, you still need to do your research. There's some doctors out there who've been in trouble, and then they get associated with these natural healthcare companies. You know why? Because they can't practice medicine anymore, that's why. Okay, on another note, here's something I do want to say. There's no one magic pill. There's no one company that makes one thing that nobody else has. It's going to cure you of that one thing that keeps you being able to have the lifestyle that you have that may or may not be healthy. There's no magic pill. Here I am standing surrounded by pills. I believe in them. I think they're effective. I know how to use them, and I know what to expect from them. There's not one magic pill. It doesn't work like that. Okay, so I started with a disclaimer. I want to end with one too. I want you to do your own research. I want you to listen to podcasts like The Dream, people who disagree with me a little bit or definitely disagree with just some marketing material, people who go a little bit further with their research. Do your own research. Talk to healthcare providers. Find out what you're putting in your body. Don't just believe these outrageous claims from some of these companies. And I'm sorry to say, but like they said in this podcast, multi-level marketing companies are some of the worst offenders.